The cost of staying the same. She had dreamed about it for years. Freedom, open roads, waking up wherever the sunrise just found her. She had finally done it. She bought the van. The dream wasn't just a dream anymore. It was sitting in her driveway. Everything she had wanted was finally within reach. And then something unexpected happened. She started questioning everything. Maybe I should just get a full-time job. Maybe I should save some money first, or some more money behind me. Maybe I should stay where I am just for another year. Maybe the van is too small. Maybe I should upgrade before I go. On the surface, those thoughts sounded logical, responsible, practical, but beneath them was something much deeper. Her old identity had entered into the conversation, not because it didn't want her to travel, because it didn't know who she would become if she did. This is the pattern almost nobody sees. People think they fear failure. Most of the time, they fear becoming someone they've never been before. Your brain isn't just trying to keep you alive, it's trying to keep you familiar. Because familiar has always felt safe. Even when familiar is exhausting. Even when familiar is keeping you unhappy. Even when familiar is costing you the life you say you want. So every time you move towards something bigger, a healthier relationship, a more meaningful career, a new business, a dream that you've always had, simply more freedom or greater visibility or even more joy, your old identity quietly whispers, slow down. What if it doesn't work? What if you lose everything? What if people judge you? What if you're making a mistake? You think those thoughts are wisdom. Often they're simply yesterday trying to become tomorrow. And here's what the pattern costs. Not just opportunities. It costs relationships you never build because you never believe you're worthy enough to be fully seen. It costs confidence because every time you ignore your intuition, you teach yourself that your own voice can't be trusted. It costs purpose because you become so busy managing your fears that you stop creating the life your heart has been asking for. It costs peace because there is nothing more exhausting than living in constant negotiation with the person that you're becoming. And perhaps the greatest cost of all, it steals time. Years pass, decades pass, not because you weren't capable, because you kept waiting for permission from a version of yourself that was created to survive a chapter you've already finished. The tragedy isn't that people don't have potential, it's that they make the mistake of protection for truth. And here's what I've learnt. The closer you get to becoming the person you're meant to be, the louder the old identity becomes. Not because you've outgrown because you're on the wrong path, because you're standing at the edge of transformation. The old identity doesn't disappear quietly. It fights to keep the familiar that you have alive. And not because it hates your future, because it was built to protect your past. You think you're stuck, but you're not. You're simply living from a version of yourself that was built to survive a life you've already outgrown. The question is no longer, how do I become motivated? The question is, or the better question is, what part of me is afraid of who I'm becoming? I'd love to know. Because have you ever noticed yourself getting closer to a dream, only to suddenly start questioning everything? If so, you may not be losing your way. You may simply be meeting the old identity that's terrified of letting you go. This is the work I do inside the Human Reset. Not by forcing change, by understanding the unconscious patterns that have quietly been making your decisions for years. Because once you see the pattern, you can finally choose something different. Keep following these posts and comment on below. I would love to hear more.